Okay, here we are. It's finally spring. I'm in a tank top. Welcome to Shad Life. Alright, you'll notice I have this bike, so this is going to be the final ride I do on this bike. And I'm at my favorite trails here, Theodore Wirth, which has a little bit of everything, which is good. So I'm going to hit this south loop, what's called Glenwood, and then the southwest loop, which is after that, and then come back and do a lap of the north loop. North loop is just now opening, so that's cool. So I'm gonna go ride that stuff first to give them time to open north loop, and then hopefully when I get back it's all opened up, because I'm really excited to try this bike on the north loop. I've talked about it in my other video where the north loop is a lot tighter and more twisty, and I'm curious to know if this kind of more XC geometry loves that kind of trail versus what I'm going to ride over here, which has a little bit more high speed sections and some jumps and things like that. So pretty cool. Again, I've got this Exaform lever actuated dropper post, so that kind of blows, but I wanted to try it out and review it. It's not a very smooth actuation going up and down. Even it's kind of like I gotta pull on the seat, stuff like that, so it's kind of what I would consider crappy. But it does the job for me to drop the seat when I want to do jumps and stuff. But it's not something I can easily just pop up and down in the brief moment when I see something in the trail or something like that. So cool. And I'll do a complete overview of this bike in the final video. And I mentioned that I was gonna sell this really cheap, but I actually decided instead of doing that, I'm gonna just do a giveaway on it. I actually got enough money in my YouTube revenue, not a lot, but enough for me to justify deciding to just give this bike away. So if you're interested in winning this bike, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned. I also have another giveaway, which is going to be my Haro Steel Reserve DJ frame and fork. So if you're watching these videos and you want to potentially get some free stuff, definitely like and subscribe. Cool. Let's go ride this thing. So the nice thing about this is I get to try these tires. I liked them at the XL Energy Bike Park, which is kind of more of a gravelly, rocky surface, but here is actual dirt. So I'll get to feel how well these tires work in the dirt. Definitely not as confidence inspiring going down those rocks. It was a little sketch. Might have a lot more to do with the fact that the tires are much skinnier. Pretty decent climber. And it's got the gear range you need for it. Whew. So I dropped the seat for this section. Of course, with the lever under the seat. Alright, here we go. Berms. Yeah, it's definitely okay. So the first time I went through those berms, I was a little uncomfortable. But then when I went back up to film it from the other angle, I felt more comfortable. So that leads me to believe that it's more about getting used to the geometry of this bike. The bikes I mainly ride are a bit slacker in design for more speed and more stability. Now that I'm getting a longer ride on this bike, I'm starting to have a stronger, let's just say negative opinion about the fork. And the first thing is the fork isn't very stiff. I feel it flexing a lot, and that's probably where, when I'm doing berms and such, I get a little nervous, because the front end isn't as solid as my other bikes. So the fork is definitely, I like to use the term noodly, not very confidence inspiring. Now, as far as the suspension of the fork, it's very bouncy. I have the rebound turned almost all the way down. It still seems to spring back at me pretty hard. And I can feel it kind of clunking around also. Like in my hands, you can feel the fork kind of clunking. Can't really hear it, but I definitely feel it. Now, this section, while I get a breather after doing this climb over here, this is a downhill section. So, probably the gnarliest kind of trail this bike's gonna ever go on, at least in my hands. Oh yeah, I'm in way too easy of a gear because I just climbed the hill. All right. Oh yeah, see, there is where this bike's kind of at its limits. When I went over that, my front end, yeah. So here's the thing about forks. It's kind of interesting, but like higher end forks, you can do the proper amount of preload, compression. They ramp up when the fork gets more compressed, things like that. On some forks you can set low speed and high speed compression, and going off that jump, this fork just absorbed the front wheel off the lip. So it caused me to kind of slightly nosedive, because I was expecting the front end to come up with the lip, and instead the fork compressed and made it go more straight. Catch myself riding the brakes more because I'm not confident in what the bike's gonna do. And that noodly front end definitely makes me second guess the speed I'm going. Yeah, I will give this bike props on climbing. Now the question is do I dare do the drop up here? We'll decide when I get there. Sure, let's do it. Oh, this yeah. Can it do the drop? Yes. Is it pleasant? Absolutely not. Now I gotta take my hand off, reach, bring the seat up, put my hand back on. That's so sketchy. But here's a part of the trail where I'm trying to get the seat down, where I generally just can rip. And I don't, yeah. One thing that's kind of funky, and I'm feeling it right now, is I feel like my weight's too front bias. It's too far forward. And so the way I would solve that is by putting maybe like 30 millimeter, 35 millimeter rise bars on this bike. Because it's definitely, front end feels too low for my liking. So I'd probably go with an affordable handlebar like a P&W Range or something and get it up there a little bit. I feel a lot of pressure on the palms of my hands on these bars because I'm more forward than I'd like to be. Okay, so now we're gonna go and do a little bit of a jump line, which I don't think I'm gonna feel very confident. This bike, as I go in these turns, the front just doesn't feel like yeah. Oh, there we go, the front nose dove on me again. Two reasons: the fork doesn't preload very well, and my weight is too front bias, and that makes jumping sketchy. So now that I'm out here on the pavement, one thing I have to say about this bike, and it's probably the tires are a big part of it, but it actually rides really good on pavement. Like, this is a bike I could probably get away with commuting on, and it would actually be a pretty good commuter bike or a light gravel bike or something like that, or mixed road bike. So it rolls really well on pavement and hard pack. So this is the loop I've been wanting to get this bike on and see how I like it. This is what I would consider more true cross-country trails. This part, the little expert dump loop, is a little more challenging than the rest of the trail, but might as well ride it. I picked a bad line there, probably because of the steering. I tend to steer more than I would like to into turns. Well, seem to handle that stuff fine. All right, riding the skinny. Nice. So this stuff right here is where this bike shines, and these tires. Look at all that. It's tight S turns and stuff. Love it. So there's a reason why I knew this bike would like this particular section of trail, and it's because I was involved with these trails back when they were built. And they were built in the 2000s, and we had 26-inch wheels and definitely more cross-country focused bikes. And me being a BMX rider, I wanted all this swoopy stuff, and there are a couple other people, a guy named Sean that was part of it. He also came from BMX racing, so we made this trail very flowy, and this is very traditional XC style trail, and this bike loves these trails. Some more really tight twisty stuff here. This bike loves it. Whew. Riding this part on this bike always reminds me of like the speeder bike scene in Return of the Jedi, where they're just bombing through the woods. That's what I feel like right here. This bike, super agile, twitchy between the trees, pretty fun. Even navigated that little rock chicane. Nice. Oh, this is cool. Yeah. All right, we're almost done with this trail. Oh, another nose diver. Wow, I do not like jumping this bike. The weight is not centered where it wants to be. Okay, so there you have it. The ride is done. Grand Canyon 5. And, you know, I'll do a video where I'll just give this bike kind of an overall review and opinion and what it's best used for. But that'll be coming up pretty quickly here. And then I'll talk about the giveaway. Appreciate your support for my channel. Please like and subscribe. Peace.